Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Intelligent Moron with Alex Silva. Today is Thursday, April 21st. Easter has passed. Now, if you don't know what that is, it's the celebration of the Lord Jesus Christ being born. Resurrecting from the dead. The second biggest holiday in the Christian faith. And you know, it's always a nice day, usually. You know, it's springtime. It's always fun. Usually you're with family, friends, or both, you know, doing the thing. Hopefully, you know, spreading the grace of God and the Easter Bunny. Can't forget that guy, too. I've always kind of wondered, like, why is the Easter Bunny a thing? You know, is it just in America? Is it so we could monetize the holiday, kind of like Santa Claus? Or is it like, you know, something deep in the roots of the holiday? Like, did Jesus have a pet rabbit? I don't know. I don't think so. But it's weird, though. A bunny rabbit that lays eggs. And they're colorful, and they have candy inside. And sometimes, you know, they could have confetti or cash or, you know, other prizes. I always love the ones with the cash in them because, you know, it's just like more money and I can buy more stuff. This is awesome. This is cool. In my day, back in the day, some people would paint them. They would paint them colorful colors, like green and pink and blue and red. And sometimes they would use hard-boiled eggs for eggs. Now, I'm not sure if your family did that or ever thought of doing that, but mine did. And I got to tell you, it was, you know, kind of disgusting. Because, you know, after a while, those eggs start to reek and smell. And some people will be like, oh, I want to eat them right now. But, like, I know that they're not, like, super fresh either. They're maybe, like, a day old when we paint them. And it's just, the smell just kind of gets to you. Like, I'm not even a big fan of hard-boiled eggs that much anyway. And when they're a little older than, I don't know, a few minutes, it's like, do I even want this? This is kind of a, you know, a buzzkill. I don't want this. You know, you can play games, do the Easter egg hunt, have a barbecue. Some people eat ham on Easter. I've never really noticed like that being a tradition in my family or even a thing around where I live, I guess. I don't know, maybe it's just the people I hang out with and the people that I know. They're like, hey, I mean, like, they never, ever have Easter ham. That might be, like, just a geographical thing. Like, maybe in certain locations of the country it's more popular than in California. I don't know. That might be a thing. But mainly barbecues, you know, good food like that. Some potato salad, macaroni salad, some fresh foods, fruit, stuff like that. You know, it's always it's a fun holiday. It's a fun holiday. But I think that what's even funnier, and, you know, shows the actual dedication of these people. I don't know if you saw this video, but it went, you know, kind of viral a few days ago, like right around Easter time. It was a video of Christians, and I say that just because I don't know the exact demographic of Christian faith. They could be Baptists, they could be Lutherans, they could even be Catholics. I don't know. I have no idea. But a brand of Christians was playing, singing and playing on guitar church music. You know, like singing about Jesus and his grace. And I'm thinking, like, wow, what a better way to have a concert than in mid-flight, mid-air. You're essentially like the highest point to God and heaven. You're giving God a show. I've never seen that before. Now, you could, if you watch the video, you can definitely see that some people are like enjoying it. Some people are like bobbing their heads, like, yeah, Jesus saved me, yeah, yada, yada, yada. Others are like, you know what? Maybe save it for church. Maybe don't, start singing on an airplane. Now, I don't know if like if that's a private plane or it's a plane that was just meant for this religious group, or maybe it was, your actual, like, a commercial flight that, is for everybody that needs to get from one place to another. I don't know. But you can just tell that some people were vibing. Others were like, what's going on here? Now, I'm all, fine for singing and all that. But I would imagine me on a flight, me on a plane, the last thing I want to hear is somebody or a group of people start singing loudly. Now, they weren't like super loud, but anything more than like a subtle talk on a plane for me is a bit loud. And I just don't appreciate that. You're in a tight tube. The sound can bounce off of the airplane, and for some reason it feels even louder, more amplified. And it's just like, I'm trying to catch some Z's. Some people don't, they sleep on a plane, they relax on a plane, maybe watch a movie, a TV show, and they're just trying to relax. And then you just start belting out, music. I don't know, it just kind of feels out of place. And I'm not saying like I'm against them for singing about God, but it's like there's a place for it, and a place, where you probably shouldn't be doing that. Just it's just a little bit of common sense. Just think about the people around you. Do they really want to hear this? Now, again, I'm not sure if this was a church group flight. It could have been, but it could not have been. But from what I can see, from what I can tell, not everybody was up for it. And some people were filming. Some people filmed on their phone. TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. I saw this on Twitter. I'm not sure where it originated from, but it came from social media. It wasn't like on somebody's website. They're like, oh, look, this is cute. I'll post this to my wall or whatever. No, it's like, I saw that and I was like, this is crazy. This is insane. But not for like what it's about, just the act of doing that on a plane. I don't know. I kind of get like a little, I would be annoyed. Like, yeah, man, God is good, yeah, but like I'm trying to catch some Z's here. This is my only time I could nap before I go see my family, stuff like that. It's just like it could be a very big, not predicament, and not a tragic thing either. But it just seems like a little bit of not a hassle either. Just a little bit of an inconvenience, I guess. Like, oh, I was planning to sleep on this flight. Now I gotta worship God. Worship God, yeah, cool, but I gotta get some sleep. Stuff like that. It's crazy. I don't know. But that caught my eye, because I was just like, what's going on here? Now, normally, again, like I said, anything other than a subtle talk is loud enough on the plane. I think everybody on the plane usually tries to be quiet, or as quiet as possible. Unless they're in a fight, or trying to start a scene, then it's like, okay, well, you're trying to do something. These guys were trying to get, start up a sing along about God and all that. Which again, that, I'm not hating on what they're doing, but it's just like in the place of what they're doing. It's like, why on a plane? Really, why? Again, don't know if it's a church plane, if a church group, is just mainly on the plane. I don't know. That information has not been presented to me. But it's just like, it's like you live, you see new things every day, and it's like, yeah, that's cool. That's definitely cool. It's something that I've never seen before, though. I mean, I've seen fights. I've seen people get dragged off of planes. Those are always, wild and crazy and fun to see. Some of them are mainly, terrible. But it's like you never see that before. And when I saw this, I was like, I have never seen this before. This is amazing. But like I would be like, this is totally like a bit over the top. If I'm, we're mid-flight, I mean, does the pilot like get like distracted by this? Can you hear that? The flight attendants, are they trying to like work, and like these guys are just in the middle of the aisle, like doing, just kind of like blocking the way? Like, what happens in that situation? I've never been in that either. Also, only been on a plane like maybe twice in my life. Those times I was really young. I went to Seattle one time, and then one time I went to Hawaii. And I was like, going on a plane was, in that time of my life, scary as hell. And I always remember, like, I hated landing and taking off. One, because my ears would just be in pain the entire time because of the pressure, when changing from landing into ascending. Horrible. You got to chew some gum, you got to yawn or something, you got to try to burp or whatever. Try to get that air to, like, release in a way. It's really weird. I wonder if they fixed that. I wonder if, like, that's gotten better. I doubt it, but time has passed and technology's gotten better. I would assume that something has changed in commercial aviation, flight, transportation, I should say. That'd be pretty cool. But again, like I said earlier, I was gone this weekend. Left Friday, came back Saturday. Went to sunny Los Angeles. Went to go see the Dodgers play the Reds. And I gotta tell you, man, I don't mind the trip to LA, but I do mind eating on the road. I do mind that. And it's not because, like, it's, I guess you could say, like, we picked up some burritos on the way, some breakfast burritos, and we're like, let's just go. All right, like, let's just not stop. Let's just go. We got to get there on time. We got to meet some people. We got to eat and then go to the game. I'm like, okay, let's eat on the way there. We'll be fine. There's just something about eating on the road, to me, that I'll do it. I mean, I love food enough, I will do it. But it's like one of the worst things that you could possibly do. I, like, almost never really enjoy the actual eating part when you're, when you're riding in a car or even driving. Like, you shouldn't do that, but, sometimes you gotta. It's like you can never really enjoy the meal. And the burrito was so good, but I'm still, like, sitting there trying to, like, not to spill anything or not to get anything, on me, or not to, make a mess or just, like, ruin something, like, and you also got to make sure that you got to finish the food. Got to finish your food, because it's like, what are you gonna do with it? You're gonna put it back in the bag and put it in the trash in the car. You probably just get hungry later. That's a long drive to LA from where I live. It's about 3 hours, so it's like, I'm gonna eat this whole thing right now. But yeah, it was good. It was a good drive. Again, I prefer not to eat on the road, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Sometimes you gotta eat on the road, even though it's messy. I mean, like, burgers, burritos, those are the most manageable things to eat on the road. Now, if you're going to eat, like, a pizza would be better, because the pizza is like pretty flat, and there's not, like, multiple layers. I mean, there's multiple layers on pizza, but, like, they're so flat that they don't even really, you wouldn't really consider them as a layer. Like, you can't really eat, like, an open-ended taco, I think, when you're driving. It's just going to get messy. And it's going to get, pretty bad in there. You can eat a hot dog, some chips, anything in a package you can eat, but maybe not a steak, maybe not pork chops or ribs, especially not ribs if they're, sauced up. That'd be pretty bad. But, it's an experience, and it's one I'm okay to have too. I'm all right to eat on the. I mean, I don't like it, but, like, shit, it could be so much worse. It could be so much worse. And the worst is when you stop the road trip to eat or to go to the bathroom. I feel like I have a pretty strong bladder and a pretty strong bowels that usually, for the most part, like, I would say, like, 99% of the time, like, I do not need to take a break to use the restroom or to grab a bite to eat or a snack or anything like that. I can just go straight forward to LA, from LA to where I live in the Central Valley, 3 hours, 3.5 max, boom, no problem, no stopping whatsoever. And I feel like that I'm, like, the only person that can do that, or, like, one of the few in my family. Like, some people just gotta stop. They want to get some fresh air. They want to stretch their legs. I'm like, no, let's just go. Like, what are we doing stopping? Come on, let's just go. I promise there will be a bathroom when we get there. Just, you gotta make it. Like, sometimes I feel like I can go the entire distance of, like maybe I could probably go at least 8 hours driving straight on a road trip. I probably could. 10, no. Probably 8. I could definitely do 6, but 8, I probably need to use a bathroom or eat something. You would have to eat like within 8 hours, or else you get hungry and you get weak and you get dizzy probably, and it'd just be bad. And at that point, I think that you would want to stand up and walk around a little bit after like that much driving. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like you're like you're tired and you want to stand up, but you just need to get some circulation back in your legs and get some fresh air. As much as fresh as AC in the car is, as fresh as that is, that elixir of when your car's got a good AC, I mean it's the best, but you still need some fresh air. As much as you like, filter it from the outside or whatever, not as good as sticking your head out and just getting some actual fresh air. It's just things like that. Got to LA, got to the hotel, checked in, went to the this is a Cajun place called the Boiling Crab in Burbank. Delicious, always hits. It was Lent, couldn't really eat any meat, so had a ton of fish, had a bunch of crabs, some shrimps, catfish, corn, potatoes. It made Lent, the final Friday of Lent, not bad. It was so good because usually we get like this mild sauce on the seafood boil, but we got medium this time, which is a little bit hotter. I got to tell you, like, spicy food usually like will make me, in pain. Like I would be in pain eating it. Other times if it's like spicy but not super spicy, I just get really like a runny nose. And man, this one made my nose runny. Like, it was so delicious and so flavorful and so good, but I knew it was hot because my sinuses were just like leaking. I just had to rub, like, below my nose or like clean my nose like almost after every bite. And with seafood boil, you can't really do that because some places they don't even give you gloves. You just got to go barehanded, which I do love, by the way. I love doing that because I feel like it's my natural way to eat food is barehanded, messy, passionate, and really caring about what you're consuming. And when it's good food, I have pure joy doing that. Absolute 100% pure joy just devouring food. And by the way, we got some snow crab. Man, it was so tender and so soft, and it wasn't painful to break out. If you get king crab, that's like the cream of the crop crab. That shit is also very, very good. But sometimes, and maybe not some, but pretty much all times I've eaten that, the shell is so spiky and so pokey. It is hard to break open. Like, I didn't even need any pliers or any tools to break open the snow crab. It just opened up. It was so soft still. The shell was actually softer than I remembered last time. And I was just like, damn, this is so good. This is unbelievable. Like, I would almost go to the place like nearby here that I think is much worse just to try to see if their snow crab is as good as the place it was in LA, the Boiling Crab in Burbank. So good. Highly recommended. And our hotel is like maybe like half a mile away, so you can just walk there. And it was beautiful weather in LA. It was so nice. It was actually a bit chilly in some parts, but for the most part, it was good weather, short weather. Like, wearing shorts, a t-shirt, some shoes, some sunglasses. It was amazing. The weather there was great. The game was good too. Kind of a snooze fest, I'll be honest with you. The Dodgers won 3-1. And we saw a couple like family friends there. Got to see my brother again. We had some fun. During the last Friday of Lent, so I had to get, I normally would have had a Dodger dog or maybe two, to satisfy my crave, but I'm like, you know what? I'm doing this for Jesus Christ. And, it's the last day of Friday Lent, finished it out strong. So I got some California Pizza Kitchen, get that traditional cheese pizza. And normally I'm a cheese pizza, fiend, a fanatic, a supporter, a fan, a super fan, if in fact. But I got to say, this one, I know it was from a ballpark, and I know it was like a miniature-sized one. And I've never actually had a California Pizza Kitchen, even though I'm a California resident. Actually trash. Like, boring pizza. Sauce was very bland. Cheese was also very bland. The only thing I'll give it is that the crust and the undercarriage was very crispy, which I do like, and it was, pretty thin. But for the most part, it was very bland and tasteless. I was very disappointed. But then I had this churro sundae, which is just ice cream, some whipped cream, and a couple pieces of churros in there. So good. And eating it out of like a mini plastic baseball helmet as a bowl, because I'm at a baseball game, it just made it feel even better. Like I'm getting the full baseball park experience. and it was great. After that, went to bed, got back up, got up late actually, didn't plan to, but I was a tired boy. And then we went to this place called Another Broken Egg, also in Burbank, down the street of our hotel. And I had a biscuit with chicken, egg, and some gravy. Gotta tell you, man, that was good. Like hearty chicken. I'm surprised that chicken is becoming more popular. Like the chicken sandwich was one thing that was like, you gotta have it. It's so good, delicious. And I am a chicken sandwich connoisseur. Like that is like my main go-to thing pretty much nowadays. Like if I go to McDonald's, if I go to Wendy's, obviously Chick-fil-A, but like even Carl's Jr. I will get a chicken sandwich, like their crispy chicken sandwich. I just think that it's the flavor and like the simplicity and the ingredients themselves are just they have so much flavor and they're just so good to me that I'm just like, you know what, I'm a chicken sandwich guy. Like I still love burgers. I love the double from In-N-Out. I love Shake Shack's burgers. I even love burgers from McDonald's and Carl's Jr. But it's just like the chicken sandwich for me is just king. Is like for me that is a go-to item when I go to places now. I don't know what it is, but and if it's a spicy one, I mean, dear God, I'm gonna have some fun. You know what I mean? But we went there. I had this chicken biscuit, actually really good. I've only had biscuits and gravy, and maybe with like some sausage or a sausage patty with an egg, but never with chicken. But I'm like, dang, and it was fried chicken. It's like, man, this is actually really good. Whoever invented this is a genius. Sorry, I hit the mic right there. But it was delicious. It was it was like, I mean, like I was satisfied. Very filling though. Like I will say this, if you're looking for like a light breakfast and maybe a little bit on the lighter side, do not get this. I would say you should get like an omelet or eggs Benedict with like seafood, because I've been seeing this a lot lately. Seafood in breakfast food. My brother got like a lobster omelet, I believe, a lobster or a lobster eggs Benedict, whatever he got. It was with lobster. I'm like, this has got to be just like an LA thing, like a lighter protein option, like instead of like sausage or bacon, get like a seafood thing. I'm like, this has got to be just like an LA thing, because I've never seen like a lobster omelet ever. He got that and I was like, wow, interesting. I've never thought of that before. I never thought of putting seafood, substituting like the sausage or bacon for like the protein for breakfast. I'm like, that could be pretty good. I mean, it did smell a bit fishy, but I was like, yeah, I can probably get past that. I like lobster enough. But then after that, we went back home, and then it was Easter time, and then it was fun. Good weekend, good fun weekend. A lot of time spent with family. That was really fun. And just kick back and relax, man. That's kind of what you can do on these type of weekends that you hope that you can get. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. A couple days after though, a couple of my friends and I decided to go see. Well, actually, no, the day we got back. So Saturday when we got back, we went to go see Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Now, I totally did not go see it the first weekend. Kind of because I didn't want to go see it. I know one of my friends wanted to go see it, and we have a Discord with all of our friends, and like he put in like maybe like a couple days after the first weekend ended, he's like, yo, nobody told me that fucking Sonic was out. He's like, I feel like betrayed or whatever. Or he was saying like, oh, I'm sorry, dude. I was like, then he's like, when do you want to go? I'm like, oh, I can go, on Saturday when I get back from LA. He was like, okay, we'll go there. So we ended up going. And the first one, this is the second one, but the first one I actually kind of enjoyed. I thought it was very dumb, but it was fun though. Like it was a dumb fun. Like I enjoyed it. I think I reviewed it on the podcast, but it was a fun movie. It was fun. It was definitely a kid movie. It was, silly at times, very dumb at times, but it had some heart, it had some soul. It had a pretty cool Sonic action, him running fast and shit. It was fun. It's a fun movie to watch. Sonic, I think, is a very entertaining character in games and TV shows and even the movie. He's just an entertaining character. And Ben Schwartz, who voices him, does a very good job. And it's fun to it's a fun experience. So we saw the second one on Saturday, and this is going to be like a review, but also like a theater experience also, because we went at a late showing. We got back pretty late. I'm like, you know what? We're gonna have to do a late showing because we're gonna get back home pretty late, and I don't want to rush it. So we didn't rush it. We went at like a 9:15 showing, a 9:10 showing, or whatever. We ate before, so like, okay, we're pre-gaming, not really pre-gaming, but just like pre-mealing, and then we're like, okay, let's go to the movie then. So we go, and the theater at this point is very empty. For a Saturday night, not really much playing, but besides Sonic and Ambulance that just came out the week prior. And, it was just like, okay, well, it's going to be probably a dead showing, thank God. Because I am not, a fan of going to see movies that are, made for kids, but, because of Sonic and because I'm a nerd and I play games, I have people in my friend group that like Sonic because of the games and they want to go see it. I'm like, all right, I'll go with you guys. Why not? Let's just have some fun. And so there was no people there. I was excited. Walk into the theater like maybe 10 minutes before it starts. Nobody's in there. And I'm like, this is going to be great. It's just going to be us. That's it. Immediately when we sit down, maybe like 3 minutes after, two giant families, maybe three, full of kids and their parents just come in and sit right, a row in front of us and a row behind us. I'm like, great. Hopefully these kids are like maybe mature enough to not just freaking talk through the movie, even though it's not a serious movie to begin with. I mean, it is a Sonic movie. It is made for kids. I mean, what the fuck am I doing there, right? Like, I shouldn't even be there. It's just stupid. It's an idiotic idea. And as I'm sitting there, I'm hearing like, what's happening, and these kids are just like, in the trailers. By the way, the trailers for these movies are the worst things of all time. I mean, some of these movies I've never even heard of, these animated movies for kids, and I'm like, why the fuck would anybody want to watch these? There's a movie it's about like this dog, this little wiener dog who's going to be a ninja, and it has like Samuel L. Jackson voice his sensei or his master, and it's one of the stupidest, silliest things I've ever seen in my life, and I'm like, who the fuck would want to take their kid to watch this? First of all, the animation looks kind of creepy, right? It's kind of scary. And then on top of it, it just looks so stupid. Like, the animation's dumb. The story seems idiotic. I'm just like, oh my God, like, who would watch this? I know it's made for kids, but what kid would want to watch this? This looks so stupid. It looks like it was like a foreign-made movie, and they just put it in a market and got like some celebrities to voice it, and maybe, maybe it'll make a buck or two. But like, I'm sitting there seeing like, this animation looks really weird. Like, who the fuck made this? And it's like made by some studios I've never even heard of. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Like, this just looks so dull and boring. And then more trailers came around. The Minions movie with The Rise of Gru. Why the fuck are they still making Minions movies? Like, they tried that before. I think this might be like the third Minions movie. I think they've done like 3 Despicable Me and then 2 Minions already. This is going to be the third Minions called Minions The Rise of Gru. Like, who gives a shit? Who cares? By the way, these movies, I swear to God, like you watch them and these trailers and you just know, like, this is where they're going to make the kid laugh. This is where they're going to make the kid seem, what's going to happen? Then the kid's going to laugh again. It's like, well, like these, I mean, like, I saw it play out. Like, how the trailer is designed. And where, like, they have, like, little punchlines for the kids to laugh at, where the adults can laugh at. Like, it just works formulaically. It was bizarre to see it work in the theater because, it's just like, this is made for kids and their parents if they want to, take them to go see it. And you saw, like, a kiddie joke. You saw, like, a more of an adult joke. And it, like, all played out, like, so precisely. I was like, my God, these people who make these movies, or at least cut these trailers, know what they're doing because they're getting the kids to laugh and the parents to laugh as well. I'm like, to make the parents even want to go see the movie as well. I'm like, this movie, first of all, looks so bizarre and so insane. Like, there's like people flying, there's explosions, there's jokes, there's minions and Gru. And this is when Gru's a little kid, so it's like you got Steve Carell voicing Gru, but as a kid Gru, so it's even weirder. It's like, what? Like, I don't know. I was not a fan of this, and like, I was like, and there were so many commercials as well. There was like maybe 4 or 5 commercials or trailers in the theater. I'm like, let's get it going. There was that, It was the ninja dog. It was this one called We're the Bad Guys, and then there's another one called the Superhero Pets with Crypto, the Super Dog, and the DC Universe. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And I'm like, I made a huge mistake coming here. Like, I'm gonna be so annoyed during this entire thing. And then eventually the movie starts. And the movie is not bad. It's actually pretty cool. It's pretty funny. Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, they all work pretty well. It was, a fun movie. Very, again, more dumb fun. But, more, I would say more on the fun side because it actually expanded more on the Sonic universe and all that. The other characters, they did it pretty well. There's some other stuff with some side characters that gets pretty crazy and pretty unnecessary, but it's also, for the most part, it's pretty fun. Finishes strong, I think. I think that Knuckles is one of the standout character in this entire thing, and that explains why he's getting his own Paramount Plus show, starring Idris Elba as Knuckles. It works so well. Him as Knuckles works so well. It kind of reminds me of he kind of reminded me of Thor in the Avengers. If you can remember early Thor, his naiveness to Earth and all that, it kind of reminded me of that. In a lot of points, and I was like, you know what, this works. This is cool. This is funny. And then Idris as the voice, it honestly solidifies it. It's just it's very it's fun to watch. This one is definitely more fun than dumb. I believe I gave it a 7.1 on Twitter, because this is not a bad movie. It's genuinely, it's not bad. It's really not bad. It's fun, but the kids just blatantly talking during the movie, by the way, just talking, having conversation with their mom or dad about Sonic or Knuckles or Tails, and even grown adults just chatting, in the back, just, laughing at a joke that he made, not even about the movie. I heard that. And I was just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, these people fucking are terrible movie audiences. And I was like, what did I expect? It was a damn Sonic movie where nothing really matters. Like, nobody's like, there's no real, like, and nobody's like, what's gonna happen in this movie? It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna change everything up. Like, that never is gonna cross your mind in this type of movie. Like, just relax, calm down. But yeah, it was fun movie. Good time with some friends. It's definitely got its really dumb moments, but I think overall, and I'm trying to make this sound as serious as possible. If you want to watch it, if you come to me for a recommendation of the movie, check it out. It'll be a lot of fun. It's got some funny moments. It kind of has a little bit of a romantic comedy twist in the middle, which I did not expect, but it was actually kind of funny. But, for the most part, it is just a Sonic movie. And, I'll say this. In terms of video game movies, and in terms of movies, today that got to make a good dime, these Sonic movies, man, they just keep making money. I think that this is Jim Carrey's biggest opening weekend of all time, ever, in his entire career. That's counting The Mask, The Grinch, Cat in the Hat, Shrek. That's a lot, The Truman Show, that's counting a lot. So, yeah, check it out. Maybe you'll like it more than I did. Like I said, I liked it. I thought it was a good movie, but, I'm no, Sonic purist. I'm no, Sonic superfan, so I'm like, maybe you might have liked it more. Maybe you might have disliked it more than I did. I don't know. That's for you to find out, I guess. Go check out the movie. Yeah, and, they had some, a scene at the end to lead on to the next one, because why not? They've already made bank making a Knuckles TV show. It's inevitable. I won't say what it's about, but when you see it, you'll be like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, okay, Sonic 3, let's go. Yeah, that's it, though. Moving on. I've talked about this maybe a few weeks ago, maybe 4 or 5. It's about a show that I'm watching right now, and it's called Winning Time. And if you don't know, it's an HBO show. You can watch it on HBO or HBO Max, whatever you want. It comes out on Sundays at 9 p.m., I think. And it's about the Lakers dynasty in the 80s, covering Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Pat Riley, Jerry Buss, those perspectives, the business side of making the Lakers be a success. Business-wise, also the side of the team bonding, what happens with the players, drama between them, their social lives, their lives outside of basketball, the times in that decade, what's happening then, celebrities popping in, public figures popping in, events occurring, stuff like that. It's like a time capsule of that time period, and it's a dramatized show, right? There are actors. John C. Reilly plays Jerry Buss, and that's like one of the bigger stars in that show. You got people playing Magic Johnson, somebody playing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and Jason Clarke plays Jerry West in the show. And that's kind of like one of the bigger things that's been happening this week, I guess, is the actual person, Jerry Buss, who played for the Lakers and then coached them for a brief period of time, is not happy with the way the show is portraying him. And he's saying that he demands retraction from the Winning Time over the portrayal of him in the series, calling him like a raging, a rageaholic. Being mad, being I guess like depressed in some scenes, and just kind of painting him in a bad light and stuff like that, and not being truthful to what he actually was like during that time. Now, I think that if you take a look at this show, and at the beginning of every single episode, right? Every episode has a disclaimer that this is a dramatization of events that happened, that truly did happen. And whenever you hear the word dramatization, you should automatically know that this is probably all going to be fake. Just take that with a grain that it's probably a lot of the stuff's going to be fake in there. A lot of it's going to be fake, and that's okay. For me, that's okay. That's fine. I have no problem with that. There's been series and shows that I've seen, for instance, the Band of Brothers on HBO is not 100% truly accurate. It's a little, there's a lot of stuff that they changed for the show, and even for the book when it was written as a book, stuff that they just, changed up. And, I have no problem with that. I personally have no problem with that. That was so long ago, and the book even did the similar things and stuff like that, and all that kind of like, I guess, I wouldn't say like it's lost, but it's like, it just feels like it's a little bit more, it's been some time now. It's probably like already been accepted by, majority of people who have seen the medium at least, and then like, you just kind of move on. But the thing with Winning Time, which kind of like challenges that, I think, is because like the people that are complaining are still alive. Like Jerry West is very much alive and living, and and he's been like, he doesn't like what's being portrayed in the show. Neither does his family or his personal friends. Even Kareem Abdul-Jabbar agrees, like what they're doing to this in this show is not what it was like at all in real life. Like calling it like a, obviously what is it called, a dramatization, like over dramatization. And I tend to agree with him on this. It's still like the fact that he is alive still, and his family's all alive to watch it and all that, and to see like how he's being portrayed. And you got to remember, like some people who are watching this probably haven't even like really dove into this time and period in history or what these people did, and this might be their first time like experiencing like characters like Jerry West and hearing that these people are real. And as much as you want to put a disclaimer at the beginning of your series, at the beginning of every episode, by the way, there's still going to be a lot of people that don't even look at it or listen to it or watch it or read it and just kind of take what they see and run with it. That's just going to happen. It's sad to hear that. It's sad to see that. But apparently that just continues to happen. And it's happening right now, and it's it's affecting Jerry West. And I mean, I kind of feel like I have to side with Jerry West on this, because they do kind of make him like like a sad guy, like a guy who's just like off his rocker, kind of crazy dude at some points, and it's like, was he really like that? Like, and I just, from the beginning, I'm like, this is probably totally false. Like, none of this probably happened. But it's different when you're the person that's being portrayed in such a kind of a negative, laughable light that it's like, dude, that wasn't me at all. Like, what? I don't know what these guys are doing, but like, that's not who I am, or even who I was. And you can find like what else he said online, and like Kareem backing him up. Like, the guy wasn't like that at all. He actually has some mental health issues that are, kind of in the show, don't really paint it in the same way that he dealt with it in real life. And it's like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense of why he's going to be pissed off about it. It's just like, whenever I see something like this, like a kind of like a biopic in a way, but, not just about some one person, but about an entire time and a bunch of people, and it's not that long ago. It was back in 79, the 80s. So it's like, it's not that long ago. I mean, that's still going to be fresh in their minds. Like, none of that happened. And like, we live in such a society right now where we will believe a lot of things are true when they're not. No matter if there's a disclaimer or whatever, some people will just, start saying stuff online and like making stuff up and just like being like, this is what really happened, and, kind of shed people in a bad light. And social media doesn't help at all. It actually worsens the problem. So I feel like, in this case, Jerry West, I believe, has every right to be angry at this, every right to be angry at the show, and portraying him in a way that sounds like he wasn't even like at all. From what he said, from what Kareem was saying, like, not even like anything what he said. So it's saddening. It's saddening, and it's like, that sucks. Because I enjoy the show for what it is. I really do. I think it's a good show. I think it's pretty good. It's filmed pretty well. It's very interesting, and like, but there's going to be a lot of people that are out there still that have not yet passed. Are going to watch this, and you're going to depict their lives in a Hollywood, fictional, dramatized way that might make them look pretty bad. And it kind of seems like that's what's happening. And listen, I'm not in their shoes, and I don't wish to be either in that sort of situation. But I feel like if no one you're like making this about, right? Like Magic, Kareem, Jerry West, even Jeannie Buss, who's in the show too. If none of them are like really endorsing it or like saying, "Hey, watch this," like it shows the story of like this time period. If none of them are like endorsing it or like getting behind it and saying like you should watch it, kind of makes me a little bit on the skeptical side. Like, this might be just like a hit, like not a hit piece, but like a pretty bad way to put these people in bad light. Even though it's fiction and it's meant to be taken as fiction, and I just feel like it's like, I don't know. I don't know. It kind of sits wrong with me. It's like I want to like it, but I feel like Magic doesn't like it. Kareem doesn't like it. Jerry West doesn't like it. I don't know if I can like it. Like, yeah, it's entertaining. It's very well made, but it's like, yeah, these people are still alive, and like they have to live with this show being out with their names. These guys playing Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Jerry West. It's like, I don't know. I'm not too sure about that. I'm going to continue to watch. I've already seen people online who have, quit watching it. Like Skip Bayless has quit watching it because of, what it's been doing. Just like, especially Skip Bayless, who lived through that time period and remembers it pretty vividly. Like, this is not how it was like at all. I mean, I don't see how anybody could, stick around in that situation, right? I mean, I don't see it. It's like saying like somebody, telling your life story or your family's life story, and you remember every little detail, and they straight up make things happen to put you like seem like you're in a bad light and like change your whole life around, or your whole perception of how you saw people or how people saw you. It's like, wow, yeah, I wouldn't like that one bit. That would be pretty terrible. I'm just glad that that's not happening to me. But yeah, I guess I am on the side of Jerry West and Kareem. Kareem added that it's deliberately dishonest, and it made him look like the Wile E. Coyote type character, being so, I don't know, it seems like he's unhinged and off the rails. It's like, yeah, I don't know if Jerry West was like that. I got that sense immediately when I saw his portrayal. I'm like, I don't think he was like that at all. And then it turns out he's kind of not. So I don't know. I'm going to continue to watch it because it's still done very well, but I'll know that it's all, for the majority, bullshit, I guess. I didn't want to say that, but like, I kind of like have no other choice but to say it's kind of all bullshit, There was a part in the show where, I won't spoil it, but like, somebody looked like they died. That they died in the show in one of the episodes, like not this past week's, but the week before that. They looked like they died, and or actually maybe it was 2 weeks ago, I think, 2 episodes ago, I think. They looked like they died. And it was a pretty important character. I'm like, there's no way that this person died. Now, the event which caused the person to leave the team for a while happened, truly accurate. But the way the show, plays it out makes you feel like they killed the person, but they didn't. And I'm like, I looked it up. I was like, this person hasn't just recently passed away, like maybe 3 years ago. And I'm like, if they kill this person, I might not watch it because this is just flat out not true. And it's like, why even call it that? Like why? Like, why change that? Like, it makes no sense. But, they didn't go down that road. They kept it true for the most part in that situation. I believe it's pretty accurate. But I was about to dip out. I was like, no way, like that. Like they can't just do that for the sake of their own show, like that. Like trying to depict like, real things that happen in a real time period, but like put this kind of spin on it. I don't know about that. I'm just like, that wouldn't feel right to me. And I'm not even the person that's being portrayed. I'm like just a viewer, but it's like, that wouldn't feel right with me. I'd feel very dishonored and like kind of smeared, I guess. I don't know. It'd just kind of be weird. Especially when the guy, recently died like maybe 3 years ago. It's like, I don't know. I was curious. I was worried about that. I was very, very worried. And when, the countdown began for the next season episode to come out after that, I was ready to pounce. I was ready like to jump off that. I was like, oh, if they do this, I don't know if I can watch it now because this is just kind of disrespectful. And especially if like you learn more, if you learn that he actually did more things with the team after, like, yeah, that wouldn't look great. I would say like this is not like Adam McKay's best work. Yeah, it's something new that I don't think I've ever seen him do, but it's like, it's not the worst, but it's definitely got, kind of questionable in some areas. Some things that, I don't think that would fly maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago, but now we live in such an age where, we should be able to, tell fictional stories, but I feel like, if those people are still alive, they have every single right to not agree with how you're portraying them. And, if people, tend to pick one side or the other, that's also a right. Some people don't even agree with Jerry West at all. Some people don't think that it's not a big deal. He doesn't. And, other people can side with him. It's I guess it's all how you view it, I guess. And how he's been treated or how he's been, maybe greeted in the past few weeks or how he's been living his life watching this unfold. Kareem does not seem to be a fan at all. I've heard nothing from Magic Johnson. I've heard nothing from Pat Riley. So maybe in the future we'll hear something. I mean, they just got renewed for a second season. So, we'll just see what happens. I think that it's definitely a slippery slope. I think Adam McKay knew that was going to happen when he, the story that they were going to write. But I don't know. I just feel like whenever somebody who lived through that area, that time period, and is still pretty popular and, alive and kicking, and they have no they have no business with it. It just seems kind of like they don't even want it to be made. It's kind of, it just feels kind of disrespectful. I don't know. That's just what I get out of it. All right, last but not least, I haven't talked about this much because it kind of just started. The NBA playoffs are now underway. And boy, do we have some stinker series. But I think that the most entertaining series that we have right now is Boston and Brooklyn. Not just because, the franchises themselves. Yes, Boston is a premier franchise in the NBA. Brooklyn is also premier just because of ownership. I mean, if they were in location, I guess. I mean, they used to be the New Jersey Nets. They were pretty popular too, but I would agree that I would say that they're not as popular as they once were. Now that they're in Brooklyn and they got cool colors and they cool name, Brooklyn Nets, pretty badass. But the main takeaway, the main I guess attraction to this whole series is Kyrie Irving versus the city of Boston. And you got the Celtics won by 1 point last game, 115 to 114, I believe it was, or 115 to 113. It was super close. Jason Tatum won it, layup at the end of the game, and the dying seconds won the game for them. One of the best games of this entire postseason, this entire playoffs, in my opinion. And Kyrie, if you don't know, has played in Boston after he was done with the Cavaliers for a few years, and he failed in Boston, and he went to Brooklyn, and he's got some, I guess, harsh feelings for the city of Boston because there was a lot of times where he played for them and they loved him and he loved them back, and of course it didn't work out, and he went to Brooklyn, and then just like the fans in Boston don't like him anymore because obviously he left them and went to the Brooklyn Nets. That's just what's going to happen. And, he's been, I guess, heckled a lot in Boston. He's been targeted in Boston in terms of criticisms and making fun of in Boston by the Boston Celtics fans. And I'm all for it. I truly am. You know why? Because it brings back old school rivals in a way for me that I think have been non-existent in the past 15 years. I feel like when a city unites to to hate on a former player that played for you, not even 5 years ago, and played well for you for the most part, it is so entertaining to see them go back and forth, and Kyrie being, shit on and criticized and made fun of, and him also scoring a ton of points and showing up and playing ball and playing hard. It's just really incredible to watch because you actually get to see somebody talk a lot of shit and back it up. He scored 40 points in that first game, and it was electrifying. It was so fun to watch, and he flipped off the crowd. He got fined $50,000, I believe, maybe even more, because he flipped him off twice. And he was asked in a press conference after the game, does that hurt you? How do you feel about that? And he's like, yeah, I don't like it, but if the fans are going to say something, I'm going to say something back because it's just what am I supposed to do? I got to fight for myself, and they're going to fight against me, and it's it's war. And I'm like, yeah, I like this. I'm sick and tired of athletes and celebrities, and mainly athletes, I guess, be so muted and so professional, I guess, when fans call them a bitch and shit. It's yeah, you should act professional, but there's something about them fighting back. It's yeah. If I'm going to attack you, you should be able to attack me back. It only makes logical sense. It wouldn't make any sense if you just kind of stood there and did nothing about it. And Kyrie being Kyrie, man, he does not care. He's going to go after you. If anybody criticizes him or says something mean to him or bad about him, he'll come back at you. And I guess that, to me, shows that he actually cares about this. He's not just going to roll over to anybody that, criticizes him. And for the most part, he's been showing up. He's been playing hard, and he's been actually, taking it seriously. And I got to applaud that because it makes it even better. Like, I just want to watch those Boston and Brooklyn games. That's it. I mean, that's going to feel like a finals to me because, you got on one hand, Boston, a young team, very motivated, got their fans behind them. And then you got Brooklyn that are essentially like the bad guys, with Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, and all those guys that, are going to show up for Kyrie and help Kyrie out. Now, I do think that Boston is a lot more talented and just, better than Brooklyn. Then they might win the series, but like it's still going to be a good show to watch because, I mean, just the key players in this series. I mean, it's just going to be amazing to watch. And I just can't wait for it to continue. I really hope it goes 7 because that means we would get it to end, I believe, in Boston, or we'll at least get more games in Boston where it is a lot of fun. I don't think it's going to be as fun in Brooklyn because I just feel like Brooklyn's fans are not as passionate as the Boston fans. But I could be wrong. I mean, I haven't seen them in like a playoff run against the Celtics, a heated rivalry like this in a while. It's going to be a lot of fun. But I think the ultimately, like, Kyrie being the villain, air quotes, because I guess that's just what he's labeled now, is good for sports. It makes it fun to watch and fun to root for. When you have heroes and villains in the NBA, especially you get this in the NBA, for me, it makes it more entertaining to watch. Because not only do I want to see good basketball and a good game, but I want to see like what they do on the court. Like if they chirp at each other or if they get into fights or like get, teed up or like foul out or whatever. It just makes it more fun for me. And, not to say like the other series aren't fun, but like, look, Philadelphia is going to win their series probably. Miami's going to win theirs. I mean, the Raptors and the Falcons aren't really putting up much of a fight. Neither are the Nuggets, even though that Jamal Murray's injured. I mean, doesn't seem like much of a fight there. And it just seems that the besides Boston and Brooklyn and Phoenix and New Orleans, those might be like the most competitive series that we have. I mean, maybe Dallas and Utah, maybe. There's no Luka Doncic, so it's just not as appealing, I think, to me. The most appealing to me is obviously Boston and Brooklyn. I mean, those games are going to be so good down the stretch. Hopefully they go the distance and make it good. But what would be also good would be Philadelphia and Boston as well. If those teams have the opportunity to meet in the playoffs, that will also be good. I'm rooting for those teams to make it because it's just going to be good entertainment. You'll have, if you had Brooklyn and Philadelphia, you would have Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving against James Harden and Joel Embiid, who James Harden just left the Brooklyn Nets to go to Philly. So, and then Ben Simmons would be on that team as well. He would probably suit up against the 76ers, and that would be also another storyline. Like, it's just a lot of possibilities. I think that it's going to be eventually probably going to be Boston meeting up with Philly. So, but that'll also be pretty good too. Just the rivalry between the cities, and being from the East Coast and all that'll be also pretty cool too, and just stuff like that. But and it's funny because I don't have a team to root for, and like I'm not a fan of any particular team, but I do love Kevin Durant. I love Boston as a team, and I like Joel Embiid a lot. So if either of those three teams make it, I'll be happy. But do I think that they can beat the Bucks? Probably not. I mean, Chicago kind of tested them in Game 1, but it wasn't all that much. It wasn't like that much of it. I mean, it was a good test, but I feel like they got lucky. They also missed a lot of shots, Chicago. At least DeMar Vujovic, and then Vujovic and what's his name, Levine. Didn't have a very good game, so I don't know. Maybe they'll show up in the next game and actually get a win. Not too sure. The West Coast, the Western Conference seems pretty, honestly, not a whole lot of interest there. Considering Golden State's already up to Phoenix is 1-1 with New Orleans, so that could be pretty interesting. Devin Booker might be out for the rest of the playoffs with a hamstring injury. Who knows about that? The Clippers, who cares? Wait, are they in it? I don't even know if they're in it. Who else is in the Western Conference? Let me think real quick. Dallas, no Doncic, so not gonna watch. I think that might be it that I can remember off the top of my head. I'm really blanking right now, but it just does not seem as interesting as the Eastern Conference. I mean, you got Memphis and Minnesota. That could be pretty cool. Ja Morant is electric, but, I think that the series right now is tied. So that could be interesting, but, right now my entire interest is on the Eastern Conference. And then you got Miami, who's a number 1 seed. Who's I think criminally underrated as a 1 seed in the East that never gets the right amount of attention or the right amount of press. But, they're the number 1 seed for a reason. They got a great coach, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo. They got a good team. Do I think that they have the ability to beat Brooklyn or Boston or even Philadelphia? I don't think so. I just don't think that they're as good as those teams. Maybe Brooklyn, but not Philadelphia or not Boston for sure. But yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be cool. Can't wait. It's going to be exciting to see what happens next. It's going to be a good week of NBA playoffs. I can't wait to continue to watch them. Anyway, you guys, thank you so much for listening, and thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Remember, if you want to check out the podcast, share it with your friends. You can find all the links, or not the links, but you can find this podcast, Intelligent Moron with Alex Silva, on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, all under that name, Intelligent Moron with Alex Silva. Be sure to share the podcast. Be sure to rate, review, tell your friends. Go to YouTube, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, leave a comment. Also, I keep my social media accounts on the description of every video and every audio file that you see on the podcast feeds and on YouTube. You can hit me up for a topic if you want me to cover something, want to ask me a question about something, whatever anything. Tell me how good the podcast is, or what I need to improve on, or what I can do better. That's always taking into consideration. It's always welcomed to have that. Feedback is always good. What do I need to improve on? What can I do to, improve that? And by the way, guys, most of this show is a joke. Most of it's made for fun and not to be taken seriously. Remember, it's a no, all fun, no business. It's never meant to be taken in any way, shape, or form seriously. It's not meant for that. So if you have any problem of what I say, just know that I really, I'm not trying to be in any bad light or any, try to offend anybody, really, honestly. It's just for fun. I just see things that kind of make me, that's interesting, or, it's not like that. I never talk politics. I never talk anything super serious and mean anything by it. It's just things that I just talk about, things that I've seen on the internet or stuff I'm genuinely, interested in or curious about that I just kind of talk about. It's just, I'm no source of information. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a specialist. I'm not a climatologist or whatever. I'm just an average man, just talking about stuff in the world that I think that is up for, anybody to talk about, and just to, vent some opinions out, just to spew some stuff on. Not anything harmful, just, in all good fun. That's all I've ever wanted to do. That's all I've ever tried to do. It's all in good fun. But remember, guys, to subscribe, and, rate and review. And I appreciate the listening, appreciate the watching. And thank you again for listening. Thank you for watching. And I will see you guys next week.